Good morning, class, and welcome to another class of accountancy. In the last class, we were doing journal entries of partnership, and I had given you several journal entries, and along with that, I also gave you a homework. I'm not providing answers for that homework because the homework was too easy. Still, I haven't received many homeworks from you, so I expect some homeworks to come. And let me clear some things that let me just give you a hint on the journal entries for interest on capital. So when interest on capital is charged in PL APRO account, the journal entry will be PL APRO debit to interest on capital, right? Amount. Then, when interest on capital will be credited to the partner's capital account, the journal entry will be interest on capital debit to Amit's capital to Vijay's capital account. And then you write here their respective amount and here the total amount. Sorry. Same goes for interest on drawings. Interest, uh, yes, interest on drawings debit to PL APRO, correct? And then partners capital, sorry, not partners capital, sorry. We don't write partners capital, we write instead the name of the partner. Yesterday, in order to make you understand, I made you write partners capital because then we didn't have names. But now we have names of the partners. Amit's capital account debit, Vijay's capital account debit to interest on drawings account. So amount and the total amount over here. So I believe this was the only thing you may have gotten confused in. And now let's get back in today's class. So in today's class we learn about goodwill and the methods to calculate the value of goodwill. Now many of you know and many of you don't, although only 6 of you are watching. So some of you would know what is goodwill. Goodwill is an asset of the company. Goodwill is basically the name and reputation of the company. For example, if you are taking franchisee from Arsalan, Arsalan is a very good food hotel chain. So if you are taking a franchisee from Arsalan, will not only take the money for the products that you purchase from him, Arsalan will also take the money for purchasing its name. The name Arsalan is enough to attract the customers. Okay, so any organization whose name is well known among the people and its name is enough to attract the customers, that attribute, that feature is known as goodwill of a business. And goodwill is an asset of the company, and there are methods to calculate the value of goodwill. But why do we need to calculate the value of goodwill at all? We learn it further. So first of all, goodwill is an intangible asset, very important, always comes for 1 marks in MCQ. So goodwill is an intangible asset. Another thing, look over here, but not a fictitious asset, also very important. Always remember, goodwill is an intangible asset, but it is not a fictitious asset. What is fictitious asset? We'll learn it in the later classes. Next, strong brand name. If you want, you can copy from here to here. And done super profit on super profit. Okay, it is not fictitious because it is a valuable asset to which helps to earn profit. Okay, fictitious. Let me tell you what fictitious asset is. Suppose a company is being formed. Suppose a new company is being formed, and when a new company is formed, a huge amount of expenses are incurred in advertising, in promoting, in listing the shares, in and many expenses. So what happens? The company incurs a huge amount of expenses. Suppose the company incurs an expense of 5 crore rupees. 5 crores. Okay, it's a big company. It may incur huge expenses such as 5 crores. 5 crores of preliminary expenses. Preliminary means the expenses which are incurred before the formation of a company or during the formation of a company. Okay, so in a way, this expense should have been charged in the first year of profit, in the first year, right? Whenever you form a company, suppose during the formation of a company the expenses incurred by you were 50,000. Take a small example, 50,000 by you. Now when you start the business, you will include the expenses of 50,000, right? In order to ascertain correct amount of profit, you will have to include all the expenses. Okay, so in the same way, this 5 crore should have been included in the first year of business. But if the company includes the amount of 5 crores in the first year of business, it might give the company negative profit or loss. Okay, it might give the company negative profit or loss, and it is not a good thing for a company to have a negative profit or loss in the first year itself. So what do? They divide this amount. They divide this amount into five parts. Into five parts. And what do? They charge each part in 1 year. Then 1 crore in second year. Then 1 crore in third year. So what happens? Expense of this huge expense of 5 crores, this the burden of this is divided among different years, so that the profit is not affected very much by the preliminary expenses. Now coming to fictitious asset, what are fictitious asset? Suppose in the first year, out of 5 crores, 1 crore is charged. 1 crore is charged. How much is left? 4 crores. 4 crores, right? Now this 4 crores is recorded as an asset in balance sheet. Next year, when another 1 crore shall be charged, the amount left in the balance sheet will be 3 crores as an asset in the balance sheet. Okay, next year 2 crore, and finally it will be 0. So this amount of 4 crore, 3 crore, 2 crore every year, this is called fictitious asset. Although it is recorded in the balance sheet on the asset side, but this asset does not have any use. All right, I'll give you the definition in another class, but this was the understanding of fictitious asset, and that's that. Okay, so goodwill is an intangible but not a fictitious asset. Next, why do we types of goodwill? There are two types of goodwill: purchased goodwill and self-generated goodwill. So the purchased goodwill is like when you purchase a brand name from another company such as Arsalan, that becomes your purchased goodwill. If you take the name and reputation of another company, it becomes purchased goodwill. Okay, and it can be treated as it is recorded in the balance sheet, and you don't need to write all this down, just for your understanding. And non-purchase goodwill, it is internally generated over the years. You can write this down. It is not recorded in the books of accounts. You have to write this down. So the non-purchased goodwill, for example, the goodwill of Arsalan itself, the goodwill of Arsalan, it hasn't purchased it from any company. It is self-generated. The name of Arsalan has developed over years and years. So it is internally generated over the years, and it is not recorded in the books of accounts. However, take the name of Arsalan, if I take the name of Arsalan to record, means for my business, then I am purchasing the goodwill of Arsalan, and it will be recorded in the books of accounts. Next, why do we need to value goodwill? Why are we studying goodwill in partnership? First of all, so what happens? Understand this. Suppose there are two partners, A and B. Suppose there are two partners, A and B. They have been partners for 5 years. For 5 years. Now they have worked very hard for their partnership firm, and they have developed a brand name and reputation. In one word, they have developed goodwill. If everyone knows that the firm of A and B is very good, they provide very good services or products. All right. Now another partner C wants to join. She says that I want to join your business. I am ready to invest capital, and I'm ready to accept your terms and conditions. Please let me join your partnership firm. So A and B say, fine, your capital is fine. You will invest capital and you'll get profit. That is fine. But what about the goodwill that we have created over the years? C says, what about it? A and B say, practically, when you are entering into our business, you are also becoming a part of the goodwill. Now this goodwill, you don't have any work upon it. Means A C is not the one who has been working for 5 years, so C does not have any part in this goodwill. All the hard work was for A and B. So don't you think after 5 years, for example, if I have a son, right? I have a son and I give it to you. Now for 5 to 10 years, you have brought up my son. You have educated him. You have means kept him in your house. You gave him food and all. And after 10 years, I come back and say, give me my son. So you will say, nah, sir, so much expenses have been incurred upon your son, and I think you need to pay it, right? Let's just be logical, not emotional. So you will say, sir, this amount of expenses have been paid, and you need to pay that. So that is goodwill. The same thing is goodwill. A and B says that we have worked so hard upon our partnership firm for so long, so you will have to pay the amount of goodwill. Of course, only your part, not our part. All right, so what do? They calculate the amount of goodwill, and then they distribute it among three partners, and the part of C shall be paid to A and to B. This is why we calculate goodwill in partnership form. This is the main reason. This is one of the main reason. The other reasons are as follows. When a new partner is admitted, when an existing partner retires or dies. So the same thing goes when a partner retires. Suppose A, B, and C. Now this contract is done and they have been working for years. Now after a year, what happens? B decides to retire. Sorry. B, he decides to retire. So what will B take? Of course, B will take his amount of capital. B will take any share of profit, and B will also take his share of goodwill. Now B will say, I have worked so hard for so many years on my business, and I'm going. So I need my hard work's share, right? Because after I retire, you too will enjoy my hard work. So please give me money for that. So A and C say okay. So again value of goodwill is calculated and B is given his part or share. Now when B dies, his nominees get his share of goodwill, not B. When there is a change in the profit sharing ratio of the existing partners, so whenever there is reconstitution of partnership, when the partnership firm thinks that the profit is not being distributed just means fairly, what happens, the change in profit sharing ratio takes place. So whenever such change take place, the valuation of goodwill takes place. Amalgamation of two firms, when two firms join each other, that is called amalgamation. So when they join each other, the value of goodwill is calculated for both of them or one of them, and the other one pays one of it. For example, there are two firms, X Limited and Y Limited. X Limited and Y Limited, both of them are amalgamating to form Z Limited. Now X Limited is a very branded company. However, Y Limited is a new company. Now, but Y Limited has a very huge amount of capital, and X Limited is it has a decent amount of capital but less than Y. So Y decides that let me amalgamate with X, and our business will grow very hugely, right? So in a way, Y is taking the name of X, right? So X will take the amount of goodwill from Y, okay, and Y shall have to pay the amount of goodwill to X, because X has a brand name which Y does not have, because Y is a new company. Last reason, when a partnership firm is converted into a limited company, what happens when the number of members increase, or the amount of capital increases to a very huge extent, then the partnership firm requires to be converted to public limited company or limited company, be it a private or a public. Okay, so then the value of goodwill is to be calculated. And lastly, when the partnership firm is sold, when a partnership firm is sold, all the assets are valued again. All the reserves, the capital, the goodwill, the everything, all the assets are valued again, and the partnership firm is sold. And in that case also, goodwill is calculated. And all this is non-purchased or self-generated goodwill. So I thought that we'll finish at least two methods today, but unfortunately, I don't believe it will be possible. So just let me give you an introduction. There are four methods of calculation of goodwill, four very easy methods: average profit method, super profit method, and one minute, capitalization of average profit method, and capitalization of super profit method. So these are the four methods. They have a specific formula which is very easy to learn. Hopefully we'll learn it in the next class. Sorry, we'll learn it in the next class, and that will be all for today. I believe that there's no homework for today, so enjoy, and thank you, and that's all for today.